Yeah, but it's okay if it's on a normal paper?
Yeah, normal paper is fine, but
I understand, double-sided.
yeah, can you make a size like this?
Anything nasty or anything?
Oh, we're live.
It'll probably be like, I can do like 8.5 by 11, like that. So then you do,
Is Tony there?
Too wide.
I don't know, I've never tried smaller papers, so
Tony?
Look at the bottom.
We're live.
Ready?
We're live, Tony.
Good evening. This is the Tibet Center, Buddhist Meditation and Study Center, located in New York City and northern New Jersey. And this is our twice weekly presentation of the Buddha Dharma, specifically the stages on the path to enlightenment as our root text that we'll be studying. But we also have other little side trips that we take. Tonight we'll be featuring a Tisha from 1,000 years ago before the regular. So we have a lot to do. The prayers that we say are all on the website. In the FAQ section, scroll down to prayers. So the first prayer we say is prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddhist teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of and happiness. May they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we have hoped and wished. The Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once, the Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the Samadhi, which examines the dharmas, called profound illumination, and at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas and their natural emptiness. Form is empty. Emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form. Form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. They transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awakened to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequal mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering should be known as truth, deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tayat Om Gate Gate Para Gate Para Sam Gate Bodhisoha. O Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi, praised the Bodhisattva Mahasattva of Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. Profound, transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Refuge in Bodhisattva vow, generating bodhicitta is the title. We say it 3 times. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. And that's our motivation. So as become the tradition, we'll say 1 round of Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, the embodiment of ultimate compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So, the menu for tonight. First, the Book of Kadam. The Kadampas were the early forerunners of the Yellow Hat sect, you might say. I don't know.
Students of a teacher.
Students of a teacher, yes. And students of the Buddha. So, 1,000 years ago, we're going back 1,000 years, and it's good to see that human nature has not changed. It's still very relevant. I'm also taking and the second part, if we divide it into 2 or whatever it may, this may be the whole lecture. The Lam Rim, as per the latest presentation from Yangtze Rinpoche in the lineage of Geshe Sopa. So, very readable, I think. You know. Did you find it readable, the language more modern and everything?
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. It does have all the required list of this, 10 of that, and 13 of that, whatever. But he does it nicely. It's sort of chocolate coated. Yeah. Let me get out my notes. Okay, the Book of Kadam. This is part of the Tibetan Classics, Library of Tibetan Classics, translated sometimes by Thupten Jinpa. But he's the general editor. There's about 20 books in it now, something like a lot. Here's a letter from girl who goes to school in our block. So, this is not just a teacher, but all the other Kadampas, and it's compiled by a man named Shegan Sherab Dorje, circa 12th century. This is the sayings of Master Atisha. I'll do the introduction, but then it morphs into like the best this, the best that, a list of like 20 things that'll really impress you, but so you can get into it. A little overture. Once when the great Master Atisha, the Soul Lord, visited central Tibet, his 3 disciples, Kuton, Nok, and Tampa, or Dram Tampa, asked the following questions. Atisha, not Venerable Sir, no, Atisha, I see, uncouth. In order for a practitioner to attain liberation and the state of omniscience, which is more important of the two, the sutras and their commentarial treatises, or the teacher's essential instructions? And what do you think the answer is? Anyone? What's more important? We'll soon find out. A teacher replied, essential instructions are more important than the treatises. The live transmission. Not here, because I'm not a teacher, I'm a presenter, but a good realized being or an ordained being that keeps vows gives you a different resonance internally. When asked why, he replied, good students, they ask why. Excellent. Even if one can recite the 3 scriptural baskets by heart and is versed in the definitions of all phenomena, at the time of actual meditative practice, if one lacks the application of the essential instructions of the teaching and the person will remain separate from each other. They then retorted, should be report. If one were to thoroughly condense the application of the essential instructions of the teachers, it appears to be abiding in the 3 vows and striving in the virtues through one's 3 doors. Is this not so? 3 doors, body, speech, whatever. Everyone goes there. Some of them are just incoming, some are outgoing. Atisha responded, even if you are able in accord with the 3 vows and remain pure, as long as your mind is not disenchanted with the 3 realms of cyclic existence, you will create the conditions for turning the wheel again, the wheel of rebirth, the wheel. So if you don't have disgust with cyclic existence.
What are the 3 vows here?
Pratimoksha, bodhicitta, and the 3 vows or 3 doors?
The 3 vows.
3 vows is pratimoksha, I would think, bodhicitta, and tantric vows. Those are the 3 main ones. Yeah, bodhicitta, bodhisattva vows, yeah. That's a better way to say bodhisattva vows, yeah. You abide in accord with the 3 vows and remain pure as long as your mind is not... You will create the conditions for being reborn. Also, even if you strive through your 3 doors in the virtues both day and night, if you lack the knowledge of how to dedicate them toward full awakening, they will be eroded through some distorted conceptualization. In other words, safeguard them by dedicating the merit. Distorted conceptualization, I like that. Even if you are a learned scholar, a disciplined practitioner, a teacher, a meditator, a plumber, no. If you fail to turn your thoughts away from the 8 mundane concerns, which everyone knows what they are, let's hear it.
Praise and blame.
Yay!
Gain and loss.
Yay! For the big money now, Marcos.
Pleasure and hurt.
Yes.
Fame
And obscurity, yeah. Whatever. That's a big theme in Buddhism because it governs the mind. We're governed the wrong way now. We want to be famous. We don't want to be... etc. We want to be wealthy. We don't want to have any pain. So So that's it. Not that you're supposed to want pain, you know. The Lamrim will thoroughly go through this in different orchestrations, so don't worry. If you fail to turn your mind away from the 8 mundane concerns, whatever you do will be directed towards the goals of this life, and you will fail to find the path to the future. So now comes all these little, what's the best with it? Feel free to comment. Just you don't have to raise your hand. We're not polite here. This is like Starbucks. So just stop talking when I'm interrupting. The old joke. All right. Again, Kuton, Nok, and Dom Tampa asked the teacher, of all the teachings of the path, which is the best? They want the best. So a teacher lets them have it with about 20 bests. The best learning is realizing the truth of no self. You vote for that or not? The best discipline is taming your mind stream.
Do you think he means no self, like emptiness of everything, or emptiness of the person?
No self of person and phenomena, I would think. The whole schmo. I think. I don't know. Call him up. You guys on?
Yeah,
He has a
I'll-
website.
yeah, give me
It's
a-
probably around today, and one guy's or the other. These people, they're bodhisattvas. They're supposed to be around. Hey. No. So, best discipline is taming your mind stream. Of course, if you could tame your mind, everything is pleasurable. Everything is acceptable, at least. You know? The best excellence is to have great altruism. I don't know how the translations work with it. The best instruction is the constant observation of your mind, and that's the big.
So can you repeat the previous one?
The previous one is the best excellence is to have great altruism.
Is excellence here?
That's what I don't-
Altruism, bodhicitta?
Well, altruism would mean bodhicitta in this context, but excellence, what is it? Could be. I'm a little.
Is it perfections, maybe, related to perfection? But that's
I
not
don't know.
what
He would have used
perfection-
perfect. This is Jimpo, who knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Oh.
yeah, that's true.
We can't challenge him. At least I can't. Best to have great. The best instruction is the constant observation of your mind. You just watch that and you instruct yourself. Hard to do, by the way. You get carried away by anything. The smell of chocolate, a certain chord for you. For us, we don't have that problem. The best antidote is the recognition that everything is devoid of intrinsic existence. Boom. If you really know that.
So the no self might mean the personal no self in the first one.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. The best conduct is being at variance with the mundane world. In context, I mean, with reason, you know. The best higher attainment is the lessening of your mental afflictions. Okay. You like that? The best sign of higher attainment is a decrease in your attachment. If you're looking for a marker, am I less attached this year than I was last? It usually comes in increments of at least 6 months or years. It's not instant, you know. You don't decide to not be attached to someone and all of a sudden that's it, you know. Smoking, eating ice cream, whatever, you know. Habits die slowly. The best giving is the absence of possessiveness, and that's true. When is generosity perfected? Not when everybody has what they want. When you're not clinging to their possessions. So nobody perfected generosity. Someone would say, oh, how could you say they perfected generosity? A lot of poor people. The criteria is the mental posture, not the external world.
The richest person is the one who doesn't want anything.
That's
His
right.
Holiness the Lamas.
That's right. The richest person. Very good, Eugene.
And His Holiness.
Go ahead,
said-
say it louder.
His Holiness.
We want to hear. Eugene, ladies and gentlemen.
His Holiness said that, not me.
Good. Well, you repeated it, which is
The richest person is the one who doesn't want anything.
true. That's a big one. The best morality is a tranquil mind, which is a hint that when you're under the spell of the afflictions, you're tense, you're not peaceful. Affliction's definition is that which disturbs the mind. So we got that. The best forbearance or patience is to uphold humility. What to say? You did. Yeah. The best joyful perseverance is to be able to let go of the endeavor. wait a minute, you work without attachment to results and stuff like that. I would think, that's my 2 cents, I don't know. What do you think? No, okay.
Can you say it one more time, the best?
Joyful perseverance is to be able to let go of the endeavor. On first reading, you might think, well, no, I won't do it, I'll drop it. No, you're doing it, but you're not tense and worried about making an impression. Just, you're joyful. The doing itself is joyful.
Yeah.
That's what they hint at. It's a little, what's the word? Subtle. The best concentration is the uncontrived mind. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
1,000 years ago is making sense today. These are the 1000s.
The best concentration is the uncontrived.
Uncontrived mind.
What does that mean?
What would you say an uncontrived mind is?
You're not projecting a scene. You're not projecting a reality. You just open up. And
That
so you
reminds-
have...
That reminds me a little bit of when you were showing me that little passage on depression and practicing the path.
Yeah, which is here.
And saying
240, I think.
253.
253. We will read that later.
Yeah, but the contrived mind part reminded me of like when a mind wants a certain result.
I would think so.
And then when it doesn't get it, it's, depression sets in, but the wanting of a result rather than being present in whatever's actually happening. But instead kind of contriving maybe what could come next or what you want to be next. At least that kind of how it resonates for me.
Let's check. 253. Time out, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't mean to derail. Yeah.
You're not derailing. This is all of Buddhism is our topic. It's also participatory. Usually the classroom is not a democracy, but here it's an anarchy. We have it the way we want it. 253, ladies and gentlemen. I thought that would be helpful for the young people who are going nuts. And I put the mark depression. So we will start. Many people in the Western world these days are afflicted with the mental sickness called depression. Depression happens when the mind is overcome by a very strong sense of craving. It's not uncontrived. For a certain object, for a certain person, for a certain experience. Ayahuasca, ooh, no. As this craving grows and its wishes are not actualized, aggression arises in the mind. You see the pattern? The combination of these two emotions then give rise to a sense of hopelessness. You've arrived. Congratulations. In some cases, the person may become suicidal, and in some cases, the person may become deeply depressed. The root of this mental state is the combination of extreme attachment and anger. There's a couple of poisons put together, and you're blowing up the lab. When we are already caught up in these emotions, applying the ultimate antidote of wisdom that realizes selflessness is far beyond our ability. That's practical. I like that. The best method to handle such an experience, therefore, is to prevent it before it occurs. Yeah, thank you. I'm sitting here miserable. Help me. And the most extraordinary, supreme way we can choose to prevent it is to live in the joy of pure ethics. In fact, living in the joy of pure ethics is the best antidote for all the gross delusions that arise in our minds. And he goes on 254. The mental sickness of depression can also arise from a deeply rooted sense of discontent, combined with limitless desires and expectations for what life will bring us. Eek. Living in ethics can help us to liberate ourselves from unrealistic hopes and assumptions. It can enable us to appreciate our lives without being trapped by desire. A lot intertwining there. But it's true, you're right, it relates. Whoops, get over here. The best wisdom is to make no identification of I am with anything. That is hard to understand thoroughly, at least from my point. Anybody have comments, complaints?
I am. So to never say I am.
Are you Margaret Glassbury?
Yes.
Ooh, a great debater is among us.
It reminds me of Ishidandul's
emptiness meditation that he teaches, meditating on, which I think comes from Nagarjuna, which is meditating on the 5 elements and consciousness, going through them each and saying, this is not me. So earth, and then water,
Yeah.
and then air,
That's him.
and fire, and then your thoughts, and then arriving at a state where you say, okay, what am I seeing? Okay, I'm seeing these 5 elements in consciousness. Where is the self? And then resting there.
Yeah. Only this does it shorter. Where's I? Where is I?
It's really cool.
But it's a big one. You could spend a lifetime on that. Well, developing it in reality, sure. Well, many, I don't know. The best spiritual teacher is not a person, it's to challenge your weaknesses. The best instruction is to strike at your very own shortcomings. Very internal here. You're on your own. The best friends are, best friend forever, oh my God. Best friends are mindfulness and introspective awareness. Mindfulness, get over here, introspective awareness. Those are your best friends forever. Okay, you ready for this? The best motivating factors are, what do you think? What do you
Ending other suffering.
Something like the motivating are your enemies, obstacles, illnesses, and sufferings. Those are the best motivating factors. So when they come, you
Right.
welcome them. You
These are the
join.
things that teach you, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a fantasy. It's not something you dreamed up. You don't want this, but here it is. Where
Can you
did
say
it
the
come
list
from?
again?
Again and again. The best motivating factors are your enemies, obstacles, illnesses, and sufferings. They're here. I don't want it. It's not something I'm imagining or projecting. Now what? Deal with it. Work with what you have. What else can you work with? Your grandmother? Yeah, maybe. Falcon Clark. The best skillful means is to be free of apprehensions.
Say it one more time.
The best skillful means is to be free of apprehensions.
What are apprehensions?
Thinking something's going to happen, I would think, and it, I would think it's a sense of, we can look it up.
Might also be,
I'm a little apprehensive. I remember this.
but also could be apprehending appearances.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Free of apprehending appearances.
I don't
How
know.
could you do that? I don't know. I remember this one chiropodist, a podiatrist in Queens who advertised foot care for the apprehensive. I took a picture of it. It's hilarious. I mean, really. The best beneficial deed is to help someone enter the Dharma, which we at the Tibet Center do. We ought to have an increase in our pay. The best help given is to turn someone's thoughts to the Dharma. So that's that. Okay. The most final among all the teachings is the emptiness that is endowed with the essence of compassion. Our teacher, so Dom Tapa asked at the end of this, what is the most final of all the teachings? This is page 560 of the book of Kadam. So what is the most final of all the teachings? Dom Tapa asked the teacher, and the teacher said, the most final of all teachings is the emptiness that is endowed with the essence of compassion. The teacher replied, that's it. He continued, though. He didn't shut up. He continued. For example, in the world there is a medicine called the powerful single remedy that counteracts all illnesses. Already in those days they had guys who had false advertising. Said, there is a medicine called powerful single remedy that counteracts all illnesses. In the same manner, like the powerful single remedy medicine, if you realize the truth of emptiness, which is the ultimate nature of reality, this becomes an antidote against all afflictions. We would all agree with that. We've been hearing this. So, when asked, if this is true, why is it that all those who claim to have realized emptiness have failed to minimize their attachment and anger? Yeah. So even in those days, guys were masquerading. And Atisha replied, "These people have arrived at mere empty words. For if you have genuinely realized the truth of emptiness, then your body, speech, and mind are like a cotton cloth that has been softened by constant pressing down under the feet, or like a hot barley soup into which butter has been thrown for seasoning." They're infused with it, I guess. Master Aryadeva states, this is a teacher quoting Aryadeva, that even if you develop a mere doubt as to whether the ultimate being of things is empty, this will shred cyclic existence to pieces. We've heard this a lot in the teaching. Even if you have a doubt about this, you're entertaining doubts about it, samsara starts to crack. You're on the right road. Therefore, if you have realized the truth of emptiness without error, this would resemble the finding of the powerful single remedy medicine. Thus, all the teachings of the path are encompassed within it. And of course, always he gets the plug in emptiness combined with compassion. Or Rinpoche was in mind moistened by bodhicitta, realizing emptiness. Moistened. So what does mean holds? We'll continue where we started, where we left off rather, last Monday night in Nueva York. Any comments, complaints? You like this format of mixing up, where you want a straight lamrim?
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah, you get a taste of different things.
I love your quotes.
They're not mine, that's why you love them.
I love you.
If there's somebody else's, I believe.
Choosing the
You
quotes
bet.
that we hear.
A lot of them he used to quote a teacher all the time. So much so that I thought Chola was a teacher. You know, who knows? Because he would say things about how he acted. So hey, you'll come. But then maybe his mind went back to, I don't know. We did the 4 qualities of the Lamrim. Everyone knows that, right? You know? Well, this is from 24 of this book, page 24. These 4 qualities to tell you, to sort of hint you that the Lamrim is not just something you read and talk about in various salons at Starbucks or whatever. It's something you inculcate into your being. So the first quality of the Lamrim is, well, sometimes the 4 greatnesses. I cherry pick from the text, so it may not be, because it's too much to write. You know.
Okay, yeah.
So what was the word you just used?
The Lamrim, the teachings.
The 4?
Four qualities of Lamrim. I've also heard the 4 greatnesses of the Lamrim. It depends on the translator, but this seems more 4 great qualities. They use the word great. So when they add an adjective, usually is a long justification. When we understand the Lamrim, the first one, the Lamrim, all the teachings of the Buddha, sutras, tantras, the teachings on the perfection of wisdom, and so forth, appear to our minds as complementary. That's a big thing, because if you start roaming around Buddhist libraries, you said there's a self. No, there's no self. You have to do this. No, you don't have to do that. You're a tantric Bible practice. You should do this. But they're all in one. They're all complementary because the student, as he or she progresses, needs a different presentation, is able to handle more things. That's why the morality at the beginning level is different from the Bodhisattva morality, is different from the Tantric morality. But you'll see by studying the Lamrim that they're all bringing you to enlightenment. They appear to your minds as complementary. That's the way he states it. According to the view of the Prasangika Madhyamikas, or the middle way consequentialist school, which this is the Tsongkhapa's final statement on things, the object to be negated is the very, very subtle and very difficult is very, very subtle and very difficult to understand without understanding the grosser objects to be negated by the lower schools. So there is a reason to go through the step 2, 3, 4 like that. You have to understand the way they present things, and these steps are in accord with the way you are now. It makes sense. But then, no, that's the way it's tooled. That's what, so it's very good. Study of Lamrim empowers us to see the non-contradictory nature of all the various aspects of the teachings. And I write non-contradiction. Page 25. The second greatness of the Lamrim teachings is that they allow us to realize all of the Buddha's teachings as personal advice. It's not words on paper, it's personal advice, as if they were talking to you. While it may be very easy for us to perceive some of the subjects within the Lamrim as clear counsel for our practice, when we begin to study the philosophical explanations of the view and so forth, we may find ourselves thinking that this is merely a great deal of intellectual information, and we may feel that it is difficult for us to see how this relates to our lives. This is just, this is for scholars, and it does get that way, especially when they break out words that we don't see together all the time. We may feel that one part of the teaching is intended to serve solely as an intellectual experience, while another part is intended for practice. No, never in Buddhism. What you read, you eat, and you act upon. If we differentiate the Dharma into parts that are practice and parts that are solely informative, we are making a big mistake. And some of them even come down and say, you have the fault of abandoning the Dharma, the fundamentalist Buddhists. But once the I skipped around to page 26 now. Once the teachings appear as personal advice, as instructions for us to practice, we have the basis to generate realizations, which is what we're after. You're not generating realization. Well, that's interesting. So-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. Yeah, no, it's advice. And then you realize something. You change. The third greatness of the Lamrim. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready. Where's the drum roll?
I don't know if you got. The third greatness of the Lamrim is that through our studies of this path, we are able to quickly to realize the ultimate intention of the Buddha, ultimate intention. He's saying this and it looks like that's what he means in one way, but we know now how he thinks and how he presents, and we see, his ultimate intention is this, There's no self. There is a self. Well, he's saying that these people, because they would freak out if they were told there's no self, that there's both feet planted in midair. No, they can't handle it. So yeah, there's a self. He's temporarily telling them things. So what is Buddha teaching us, you might ask? As stated in many prayers and practices, the essence of the teachings is contained in the three principal paths: renunciation, bodhicitta, and the wisdom that understands emptiness, or right view, sometimes it's called. So there's a whole section of Buddhism where they debate what's provisional and what's definitive. And when Buddha said this, is that the final meaning, or was he just leading people on? And it gets very, very hair-splitting. Tsongkhapa's book, Essence of Refined Gold, that's the topic there, and he argues with the mind-only school versus the consequentialist school, and I don't understand it. So after many attempts, it's still sitting there. And Rinpoche taught it twice. So, the fourth greatness is that the study of the Lamrim will cause us to spontaneously cease mistaken actions. That's a big thing. I like to be on time. Why do we listen to the teachings? Anyone wants to know? Why? I know where to go. It's air conditioned. Sometimes there's snacks. You can go on.
Food's good.
Food's good. Food is not bad. Thank you, Carol. We listen to the teachings in order. This is page 29, Yangtze Rinpoche. We listen to the teachings in order to learn how to protect ourselves from our own non-virtue and negativity. We are our own worst enemy, and the teachings will help you mitigate that or eliminate it. We had this before. We make a lot of mistakes in our lives because of not knowing this from page 29. What is it we don't know? We don't know reality. We think we do, and everybody else around us has the same view. So we get along. We reinforce each other's mistaken view of life. The first step is to eliminating this problem is to listen. Listening gives us the insight into what to eliminate and what to cultivate in our practice. Listening or reading or whatever. I used to say hearing. It is the best way to increase our wisdom, intellect, and insight. It should be very clear to us that we do all the listening to be able to implement the teachings in our life. You have to constantly catch yourself because it's easy just to relax and hear the teacher's voice. Oh yeah, this is good. And tell yourself, I did some good today. I spent an hour in the classroom. That's very good. But you got to engage. You got to interact so the chemical formula works. So, such means we can free ourselves from the prison of karma and delusions, which we are in. We have a body that came from good karma, it's a human body, but somewhat deluded as to reality. We don't have a perfect body. We don't have a Vajra body, or whatever you want to call it. Through listening, we develop the force of understanding. Here's the sequence. It's a good key to the way they think. Through listening, we develop the force of understanding. Through the force of understanding, we cultivate the force of meditation. Through the force of meditation, we are able to cultivate the antidotes to the delusions that bind us in cyclic existence. Results are dependent on their causes. If the cause of listening is extensive, deep and profound, and our meditation, ladies and gentlemen, too will be deep and profound. Also, if we listen to the teachings with an attitude of faith and respect, the mind of faith becomes a condition for our listening to bear fruit. So you empower this listening with a trust, sort of. But faith, faith in Buddhism is not just blind faith. And the teachings should be telling you to challenge us right away. They all do that. You have to activate that part of the mind that's smart and wants to know. Because we're so used to towing the line and listening to everything in society. No good. We have the mind as the container. You know about this? The 3 different wrong minds to have? Mark will tell us. No?
Yeah. So the container that's upside down
What does that mean?
means that we're not receptive, we're not open.
Maybe not even paying attention.
Yeah. The container that has a hole in it. It's right side up, but has a hole in it. So in one ear, out the other.
Can't hold it.
Here we are. Here I am. That's my motto. The third one?
A container that is dirty. So it takes it in and then mucks around with the meaning.
There's some also that say it's full.
Full.
It's full and there's no, you know it all already. In fact, you're listening, no. Okay, that's common. You can tell by when people pipe up in classes. And they're usually challenged. What?
Wouldn't that be like the container that's upside down?
No, it's not even, the upside down container, nothing even goes in. I would think. That's a tough one. I think it's part of the dirty one. I'll go to Geshe Sopa's Lamrim and see if it's more elaborate there, because this is just this whole upside down container and a dirty container.
Yeah, I think that.
There's
the
no
upside down
full
is-
container. I've heard-
The upside down is not even,
Well, he'll explain it.
receptive.
Here we are. A container with a hole can't keep anything in. Remedy? We should listen with our eyes looking at the teacher, our body facing the teacher, our ears hearing the words of the teacher, etc. In other words, you're attentive. Because he yelled at us in the army for not listening and being attentive. Do you hear what I say? An upside down container is being physically present but mentally somewhere else. This is a good one. I like that. A dirty container, Mark, you dirty container, is, for example, listening to the Lamrim teachings with a selfish motivation, such as the wish to achieve more happiness for oneself alone. He's always defining selfishness on the Bodhisattva scale, if you notice. Amazing.
But that doesn't include the know-it-all.
No, it doesn't. The know-it-all, I've heard that before,
But
full
I've heard the
container.
know-it-all, the
Yeah,
people that.
I've heard the know-it-all too, but he doesn't say that it may be, I don't know, but it makes sense.
Mhm.
Know-it-alls were sometimes not even listening because you could tell by the way they talk back. They didn't get it.
Right.
They're usually off topic. We know the idea of a person as a sick person. We went through this already. 6 discriminating attitudes. See yourself on page 31. See yourself as a sick person without overdoing it and getting neurotic. Recognize the teachings as medicine. Recognize the teacher as the physician. Recognizing that diligent practice will cure the sickness. Recognize Buddha as a holy being, whatever that means. And 6, recognizing that the Dharma should be preserved for a long time. That sort of entails that you're happy that there's medicine around and glad. And then your membership in the Tibet Center, we always say the same thing, same joke. It's your healthcare card.
I have a question.
Sure, to the class, you know,
Or maybe I don't know what it is, but.
whatever it is, let it out.
When I was, I was raised when I was young, with kind of like a non-denominational Christian background. And I think that there was the sense of original sin, the sense that you kind of came in rotten in some way. And then, you know.
Same here, by the way.
Right. And I think that sometimes I get I think because of that download when I was young, it can distort certain things, like confidence or self-esteem, things like that. And sometimes in the aim of maybe self-improvement or working on oneself, it can sometimes, and it came up in thinking of oneself as a patient or oneself as ill, and feeling the Dharma as an antidote or the medicine. But I find that sometimes that theme comes up a lot, that if you can view yourself as something that is already dirty or ill, then something else can help you become clean or healthy. And sometimes I have trouble with it only because I think it has always affected my self-esteem in some way. It always has kind of communicated to me that I must be rotten in some level.
And
I know that that's a miscommunication.
It is. How the message is delivered is the key.
Yeah.
Mm.
So sometimes with even the term self-improvement, I know that I'm deeply flawed. That's not in question really. But I think that.
How deep is the flaw?
But I feel like even the notion of self-improvement makes me feel like I'm rotten to begin with.
You certainly are.
And then I have to be improved.
I saw your last performance. Oh, no.
I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Buddhism, they do tell you are under the spell of karma and delusion, but deep down you're a Buddha. Deep down you're person. You're perfect, and you have the seed of it in you. It's not something you have to go out and get. You just gotta take the layers off.
There's no intrinsic. There's no. We had this conversation before.
Yeah, everyone.
But isn't there the notion that you're not coming in as a Buddha? You're coming in with the ability to.
Yeah,
to
the
have
ability,
Buddha-like mind.
but you
if
can
you're-
get there.
But that's the thing is that feels like to me in that notion that you are coming in deeply flawed, which is, I mean, obviously it is true on many levels, but it also doesn't.
It depends what they mean by
I
flawed.
have always understood the Buddha nature thing is it's not so like that Buddha nature is there, it's just covered up by these temporary things. So it's like it's like washing a plate, right? Like if the plate were made of mud, then as you wash it would just disappear. But because it is not made of mud, you can remove the mud and there's a real plate underneath.
Yeah,
So like I think the antidote to this is supposed to be that what you really are is Buddha nature, which is there. It's just kind of covered up by these temporary things.
You're not a Buddha, but you have Buddha nature.
But like that's what you really are, like your true
Is that
nature.
that's the teaching?
The teaching, for instance, Uttara Tantra, it's like a very poor person suffering and suffering and suffering and they don't have any money or anything. And then a Buddha walks by and sees that underneath this guy's house is an expensive diamond that all he has to do is dig out and get it and he won't be in poverty anymore. They say that's like the Buddha jewel,
The Uttara Tantra is like really unambiguous about
The Gyu Lama, yeah.
There's 10 analogies in it, and they're all like this. And there's like the famous line in it that like there's only, you only need to see the one thing. Once it's seen, everything is
Right,
good.
seen and realized or whatever. Just see
So
by
what is
the
all of
words.
this about the intrinsic, not
Nothing's
saying?
intrinsic, by the way. Intrinsic's a bad word around here.
I
You know
know,
that.
but that's the part that confuses
Watch your
me,
language.
I think that's the part that confuses
No,
me.
because that implies a static reality that's not in motion. That implies a dead end and a
that
claustrophobic.
if you came in good in a Buddha, that would be intrinsic in some way?
Buddha nature actually is the emptiness of the mind. One way of defining it, but leave that alone. It's not something it's something in motion constantly because everything is. So you can't freeze it. You do it with words for common understanding, but you can't freeze reality. It's always in kinetic. That's one thing. And if you do, you're at odds. But you're saying that this Buddha nature is, I don't understand what the statement
Well, I'm
you're
just
making.
saying,
I'm not listening properly.
are we coming in, like, if I'm thinking about karma and all of the things,
Right.
right, that are swirling around, are we coming in based on our karma, worse or better? And if we are, does that mean
Worse or
that-
better than what?
Well, I don't know, like, if I was thinking about the way that, a person comes into this world, and my natural inclination is to say everyone's good. That's their
Basically.
that's their basic,
Okay.
foundation.
Okay.
But I think sometimes in the teachings I can get a little confused. Is it that everyone is good, or is it that everyone has the potential to be good? And I feel like that is important.
The latter,
Well,
I would
nothing
say.
stays the same either. You have to keep that in mind, right?
Mm.
Nothing is permanent.
Mm.
So if we all came in good within a split second, it
Well-
could go any way. But
Good,
Um,
no.
but
Yeah.
well, it's just that there's so many things all at once, and I think that your desire to define it as a fixed thing kind of goes against the whole nothing is
We
permanent.
do that for convenience, but in reality, no, nothing is fixed. But
Right, so,
and everyone will tell you if you're not a Buddha, you have some degree of suffering. That's all reality.
Right.
so
Maybe
it
very
really
subtle,
depends
but-
on what perspective at any given moment you're taking on the issue, and
Well,
I do think it's important to not when you say the word I, like I think it's very important to understand what the referent is.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about like when they say I in like the third turning, that means it's referring to the Buddha underneath. So like every conscious sentient being has a Buddha nature, whether that's like His Holiness, the worst like Hitler, a bug, they all have Buddha nature.
yeah, they have.
And that's the real them. So like their karma is not really them.
That's their destiny, we could say, because everyone will be a Buddha, because the Buddhas have nothing else to do but make
karma
everyone a
is the
Buddha.
dirt on the plate, right?
Right.
One
so
way.
when you say you come in good, that good can change. Like I think the referent of the word you is the source of the confusion. Like the sentient being
Right.
will
Like
change
you-
from moment to moment. The underlying Buddha nature will not. I mean, you have to be very careful when talking
Right,
about
the-
Buddha nature,
that's-
the way you would talk about the phenomenon, because it is not.
Yeah, the Buddha nature doesn't change because one of the final definitions is the emptiness of the mind. That's your real Buddha
Right, so
nature,
if I'm
and so it
thinking
could
of-
be changed,
Right.
and that's it. That's the argument gets very above my head. That's for sure. Maybe Nikki can help us. I don't
Right,
know.
but so it is like, I think that's where kind of Christian slippery slope.
Yeah,
interferes,
it
because
is,
they're
but
not
the Christian
considering-
mystics break out of that.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's just
Yeah.
the kind of maybe lowest hanging fruit,
The Baal Shem broke out of it.
popular
too.
Christian
Sufis break out.
kind of sentiment that if you are saying, like referencing something like original sin,
Yeah.
it's actually referencing the kind of ego I rather than the karmic.
And what's the antidote?
Maybe part of the confusion here is that the misunderstanding is they treat original sin as intrinsic to you.
Oh, yes.
That's the
But
part that I
the
get
whole point
confused
is
about.
that it is not intrinsic.
That's where Buddhism
Yeah,
differs
yeah,
from all the
that's
religions.
the-
There's no
that's-
I think
intrinsic.
it's a misunderstanding.
I hope so.
I
I hope it is. The thing is that, and who's your helper? You have to devote yourself to this God figure, whatever, and that's how you get out of it. So,
And also, you're not a significant difference from my perspective between Christianity and Buddhism is that in Buddhism you're encouraged to challenge, and in Christianity,
in this school of Buddhism, yeah,
in Christianity,
Not all.
you're encouraged to be quiet and listen to what I say.
well, that's the way it's derived. It's, yeah, it's the way it's
You can't
fallen.
challenge. You can't challenge what you're told.
The Jesuits are big in challenging. They have a debate system, but that's not the average practitioner that goes to church. No, this is the higher level. Who knows? But everything is workable. You're not stuck. You're not claustrophobic. Everything is workable.
You're talking about
Ever.
Buddhism.
In life.
Well,
Buddhism is saying that's what life is. It's workable. Obviously, we're temporarily this or that, male or female, young or old. And we could see that. Nobody has to really... If you want to open your eyes, you could see it. Some people who are real old think they're young. Well, sorry. But the Buddhist perspective is this is a temporary situation. You're moving on. You're constantly in motion. Every reality is kinetic. If you try and freeze it, you got a problem. One way.
I think any good or bad qualities we have are equally empty of inherent existence.
Yes. That's what he'll bang that through you.
So the
Yes.
pollution is that conception.
Yeah. We don't.
That they're good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're freezing it.
That they're not empty of intrinsic nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're
Right.
somehow like
But you
real and important
And will always be that way, and
Or
that's
you
the way
could
they
say
are.
that we have a subtle sense that they're inherently good or inherently bad.
Right.
Wrong. Yeah, the inherent is the big disease. That's the virus we carry.
and
Oh.
you're saying
Oh, it's Darren. I know who is it. I don't know if we're coming through on if the people speaking are coming through.
Yeah, they are.
There's only one mic. Okay. Go ahead, Carol.
oh no, I'll
Sorry.
pester you later.
You can pester me now or later, whatever. Actually, no pestering. We have to do the prayers. Any names?
Let me see, hold on.
The suspense is killing us.
He's waiting for the street to catch up.
No names.
No names, all right. Well, for all the poor people, unfortunate people killed in all the battles all over the place. What? I heard, yeah. Recollection of Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha, Bhagavad, Tathagata, Arahat, Samyak Sang Buddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strengths cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones. He is the guide of those who journey to the city of nirvana. He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not stained by the realm of desire. He's not stained by the realm of form. He is not affected by the formless realm. He is completely liberated from suffering. He is completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He has completely cut the knots. He is completely liberated from extreme torment. He is liberated from craving. He has crossed over the river. He is perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats, who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The Holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent. Its words are excellent. It is uncorrupted. It is completely perfect and completely pure. It completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well. It brings complete vision. It is free from sickness. It is always timely. It directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose. It brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavat is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy, it is trustworthy, and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Jnana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously. They are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable. The Dharma's virtues are inconceivable. The Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore, the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. Now, 8 verses for training the mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. Whenever I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as a disturbing emotion arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings, and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I had benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. In prayer for the swift return of Rato Chonla Rinpoche, exalted wisdom of all victors, gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lozang Tuguang Dorje Chang, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We beseech the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast waves of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. Though holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till cyclic existence's end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by Bodhicitta drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel, return as the glory of Losang Tempe. Magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala Karma Yama and Sri Mata Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors, may you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So that's the end of tonight's class. This Saturday at 1 o'clock, right here in the parsonage in South Orange, we have White Tara Sadhana presentation, followed by a nice tasty lunch, both vegetarian and non. And our next Dharma class is this coming Monday night, 7 o'clock, at 151 West 30th Street, and right near Penn Station, in the heart of money-making Manhattan. So thank you for your patient listening. Take care. Good luck to all of you.